The following podcast is for informational purposes only. The contents of this podcast do not constitute tax, legal, or investment advice. Take responsibility for your own decisions, consult with the proper professionals, and do your own research.
So if we look at that timeline, it has always been around finance, right? Trading. No matter if it's like in the exchange trading, like exchange trading products, or like on-chain trading products.
GRTiQ podcast.
Galactic astronauts floating in the space of time. Trust between past and future.
Welcome to the GRTiQ podcast. Today, I'm speaking with Felix Xu, co-founder of ARPA Network and Bella Protocol. At ARPA Network, Felix is leading the development of cryptographic infrastructure, including verifiable random number generation and zero-knowledge machine learning solutions. As one of EigenLayer's largest AVS providers, ARPA safeguards billions in digital assets. And through Bella Protocol, Felix focuses on creating AI-powered trading tools and DeFi solutions to help users better navigate the crypto markets. A graduate of NYU's Stern School of Business, Felix combines deep expertise in both technology and finance. His entrepreneurial journey began after roles in venture capital and equity research, where his early exposure to blockchain technology sparked a vision for bridging traditional finance with blockchain innovation. During our conversation, Felix shares insights into the evolution of the crypto markets, the impact of AI on trading, and his perspective on the history of market cycles going back to 2017. He discusses the future of DeFi, the rise of meme coins, and his team's work on advanced AI models for crypto trading. I started the conversation with Felix by talking about his upbringing in Beijing and his early interest in financial markets.
Hi, Nick. It's my honor to be here. I was actually born and raised in Beijing, China. And 17 years old, I actually went to New York for college. And then, worked a couple of years after college in New York, moved back to Beijing 2016. And then after COVID, moved out of Beijing because of some crypto regulation. I've been in crypto for 6.5 years, a veteran here, and still a true believer of the industry. Right now, I'm in Singapore most of the time, but, travel to different places for conference and also for kite surfing, which I love.
Let's talk just real quickly about China. Do you get the sense that because of changes in the US and some of the regulatory shifts we've seen for the industry recently, do you think that'll impact China and their approach to cryptocurrency, or how do you feel about that?
I would say, in terms of the crypto regulation, I feel like there's still a long way for the Chinese government to go because of the capital control and other concerns that they have. So it is quite different than the US. But I think, maybe in 5-10 years, things going to change and they'll definitely follow the steps of other countries, especially developed countries. So we'll see. I hope the regulation will be, clear, and then it's going to be much easier to do business or to travel.
So when you think back to your childhood and sort of those formative years, when did you sort of become interested in technology and finance? Do you remember any aha moments or pivotal experiences that sort of shaped your thoughts on this?
Of course. I have always been interested in tech and plus finance since I was a child, probably because, my parents were entrepreneurs themselves, and I kind of grew up under this influence. I always want to do something exciting, fast developing, fast growing. Actually, in terms of finance, it's funny. I had my stock account, stock trading account, using my grandpa's name back in middle school. So when I was 14, 15 years old, I remember there was a bull market in the Chinese market in 2005 to 2006. And the index went up 6 times within 1 year. It was the biggest bull market in the Chinese stock market history. I was a kid and I was aping into different stocks. I was encouraged by my parents. My parents were very liberal. I became, at that time, the richest kid in my school.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and I was dreaming about buying a car for my parents, for my mom at a time. However, 2007 and 2008, the financial crisis hit, and the stock just went back to where it began, and I lost most of the money. So that was kind of my lesson learned. I've been like here and there trading since then, and in the U.S. stock market, even FX, especially after college.
So when then did you become interested in crypto, and what was sort of the unlock there for you to be interested in crypto?
I graduated from NYU, New York University, Stern School of Business, with a double major in information systems and finance, right? So it's kind of a crossroad between technology and finance. I remember back in 2012, my professor for information technology class, it's kind of an Infotech 101. The professor name was Panos Iperides from NYU. And he actually gave everyone in the class some Bitcoin. I can't find that wallet, but 2012, it was very early. Nobody knows what the heck it is. It was interesting because that was the first time I thought, oh, I really own this digital whatever currency or digital asset, in my laptop, even though I cannot find my laptop today, but it kind of planted a seed about Bitcoin, about crypto to me. And later on, after college, I worked at a equity research shop in a hedge fund. I was working on some really boring job to cover industrials and machinery companies based in the US, especially the Midwest of US. And then because I studied information technology, so I actually spent more time researching on, like new technologies like VR, AR. And then I found Bitcoin by accident. I talked to my friends about Bitcoin back in 2015, but I didn't ape in until 2017. I changed to another job working at a venture capital back in Beijing. Back then, blockchain as a service, not crypto, already became quite a hot topic in China. So I was looking into these technologies and also Bitcoin at the same time. And I was like, very hard to invest anything like, early stage companies because they're very risky. Blockchain technology is also kind of unknown. But this crypto thing, right? This Bitcoin thing and Ethereum seemed to be interesting. So I aped into Bitcoin and Ethereum back in 2017.
Can you take us back in time and just sort of describe if there was a moment, or maybe it was just a set of experiences that signaled to your mind that this was something more about technology and not necessarily about speculative assets? I mean, I'm presuming you've sort of evolved your thinking, but a lot of people who come on the podcast first become interested in Bitcoin because of the price speculation. And then something happens, whether it's Ethereum or something else, where they realize this is something more, this is technology. What was that experience for you?
Yeah, I kind of learned my lesson since I was in middle school and also college, not to speculate too much. So lesson learned there. And even now, I never take on leverage, right? So I have a pretty heavy bag as of today, 80, 90% already allocated, but still I only take spot, right? Never take leverage. I first look at, technology at first, and I was interested in the technology, but the price action gave me the final kick for me to buy Bitcoin, buy Ethereum, because I was looking at it and then it went up quite massively, like in 2017. So like, that's kind of the final kick for me to really dive into it and own Bitcoin at that time. So I would say it's kind of a combined force.
Well, as you mentioned earlier, you worked for some VC and did some equity research out of college, and then eventually you went on to co-found some startup and entrepreneurial type of things. The first one was ARPA Network, and then you worked on Bella Protocol. What can you tell us about sort of that journey of becoming an entrepreneur and what those early ventures were for?
So the end of 2017, I got my bag in Bitcoin, in Ethereum. So I started to look really deep into the technologies and start to talk to some friends, some people about the future of this industry. Back then, I was still working at a venture capital firm in Beijing. And then, like people were talking about fintech, people were talking about open banking, open data. And I was like, there's definitely some use case for blockchain in that backdrop, right, to enable some open banking or open data framework. That's why I looked into the technology and I was like, maybe I can improve upon it. Back in early 2018, that was the hype of probably 2 bull markets ago, right? People were talking about using blockchain for everything. I would say it's much more imaginative compared to today, like of all these like meme coins and then all these DeFi. Back then, people were talking about flying cars with like crypto, with blockchain. So it was kind of a bold but also interesting moments in history. And I was like, maybe I can do something to improve the industry, right? To to solve some problems. That's how I founded ARPA Network. And for ARPA Network, we've been working on cryptographies like multi-party computation, and right now for zero-knowledge proof machine learning. At first, we want to solve the privacy problem because there's no private data on blockchain. But later on, we found there are some more efficient use case of multi-party computation, specifically threshold signature schemes, which is like a cryptographic algorithms, to generate partial signatures. And then the use case will be generating some verifiable random numbers. If you think about, the games and also like a lot of use cases that utilize randomness, right? Sometimes you want to select a winner, right? Sometime in the game, you want to, loot. They are all random numbers. We build random numbers with cryptographic algorithms that can be verified on blockchain. So since 2018, we have been working on that part until now. We are also venturing out from multi-party computation into other algorithms like deep neural networks using zero-knowledge proofs and some other interesting use cases. That is kind of the journey for ARPA. I can also talk a bit more about Bella.
Please.
Sure. I have been always interested in the new things happening in crypto. And I think, each cycle, there are a lot of new narratives coming out, right? So 2018, it was everything plus crypto or anything using crypto. And then we had the bear market in 2019, but then there are visionary people working on DeFi. I was kind of the early user for Uniswap V1. I was early user for ETHLend. Later on, they became Aave. Also Compound and some other DeFi protocols, and especially like Synthetics back in 2019 and MakerDAO back in 2019. And I was amazed by how automated they are, right? So like using smart contract is permissionless and also it's automated. That was kind of the biggest problem when I was working at a bank, right? Doing active research job, because there are so many manual work. If there are like people who are in control that can say, if the loan is going through or not, there is definitely inefficiencies, right? And it definitely cannot be fully automated. Like the first time I was using DeFi, I was amazed by the fact of, like it is fully automated and it's permissionless. I was thinking, this DeFi thing can really scale in no time, right? Because it's all like permissionless and it's all automated. So once there's a flywheel, then the market can grow maybe from $10 million into $100 billion just within a couple of years. And that's why we internally incubated a DeFi project in January 2020. And that was Bella Protocol. And it's also been many years, right? So it's been nearly 4 years. And then we have been working on different DeFi products over this past 4 years, including yield aggregators, multi-chain like yield strategies. Right now, we are top 3 on a cross-bridge relayer, so providing liquidity to facilitate cross-chain transactions. And also, we have this really interesting, powerful AI signal bot for to help traders to make trading decisions with assistance from AI.
Let's talk a little bit about AI. And I have a bunch of follow-up questions about ARPA and Bella Protocol. But to talk about AI for a moment here, it's been amazing sort of to see how much traction and market adoption AI has achieved in such a short period of time. in the context of trading, what can you tell us about the impact AI is having? I mean, you're clearly building it into your tools at Bella Protocol, but from a general perspective, what are you seeing out there?
Yeah, AI has become like a hot topic since I would say like since the release of ChatGPT. It has been researched upon since like 1970s, right? So it's been around for a very long time. Like for in terms of trading, I would say like AI has been used in trading on Wall Street. I would say it's maybe since like 15, 20 years ago. People try to make algorithms smarter. And back then, a lot of people are using like multi-factor quant trading strategies. And then they try to optimize it using some AI, like simple AI models, right? Optimize these factors or weights. If we talk about AI in trading, I would say, it's been going on for quite some time. And for us, we try to build AI models to make trading decisions. And then we open up these signals to normal users. It's actually free to use. We built 5 different AI models, essentially like to track different structure of the market. If it's like trending up, if it's momentum, or if it's like range bounding, right? So with different market structures, we will recommend different AI models to make trading decisions. I would say another hot topic these days is the AI agent, right? AI agent can basically be helpful in a lot of fronts, like in terms of research, like in terms of finishing some activities, right? And you can also use a group of AI agents to work together, right? So like some AI agents are specialized in, let's say like graphic design, right? Some AI agents is specialized in doing some automation work, right? You can basically have a group of agents to work together. It's called an AI swarm. Trading is a very specific vertical. And now you have this more general vertical that can help, each one of us, right? So like just make our life easier and then to finish a lot of jobs that's kind of repetitive or even not repetitive or even like creative. It's very exciting to see, AI is infiltrating into different aspect of life. And in terms of crypto, right? Crypto, we have crypto trading, right? We have basically arbitrage or like MEV using some AI like detections. Also, we have automation work and intent base. So like I would say, AI agent can be helpful in a lot of different fronts in crypto.
What's your perspective on sort of where we are in this present cycle? You and I are recording in December of 2024. So this release date is a little bit after that. But what's your sense of this market and what does the AI sort of say about the cycle we're in?
Our AI models are more short-term oriented, right? So like if you check out like Bella Signal Bot, we have 5 AI models and they are basically designed for day traders, right? So we don't have this very long outlook into the market. But, if we look at prior cycles, I feel like now might be the time for altcoins to shine, right? If we compare now to the end of 2020, the ETH BTC ratio actually went up, got doubled in the next 5 months. So we have like in this cycle, we have seen a huge bull run for Bitcoin and mostly very subdued like price actions for most of the altcoins. And I think, maybe the next 2-3 months is going to be like the best period to trade altcoins. And maybe like next year, I would say I'm a little bit concerned about next year because the liquidity will not be as good as this year, the global liquidity. And also after Trump, there are a lot of things. So there's very high hope, right? A lot of anticipation in the market. People are optimistic, but maybe next year, like it's going to be a sell the news event. Buy the rumor event now and then sell the news event after Trump. I would say maybe we go higher, for the next 3 to 5 months. But the second half of next year, I'm not sure.
Would you be willing to speculate on sort of Bitcoin in terms of, there's a lot of people out there, and I'm putting a little pressure on you here, but there's people on Wall Street and a lot of different industry analysts that speculate about the price of Bitcoin and what it might do this cycle. And, I've heard a lot of different things, and so have you, I'm sure, of 180,000 and beyond. But what's sort of your sentiment on that? I mean, is there still room for Bitcoin this cycle, or do you think it's peaked out?
I would say like probably there's still like 50% upside to Bitcoin in terms of the next couple months. For the long term, like I would never sell my Bitcoin. Like I would never sell not even 50% of my Bitcoin. I'll just hold it in my cold wallet. If the US finally use Bitcoin as a reserve, like other countries are all going to follow, right? Or even front run that action. It's very easy to see maybe 50% of the market cap of gold, which is at least like double or triple the price of the Bitcoin price now. So I would say there's another super cycle upon us, but I'm not sure if it's this cycle or the next cycle. Back in 2018, a lot of people were speculating that, the institutions' money are coming in, but actually they just came in this year. So it's going to be like 5-year or 6-year lag of like the market speculation and the real action. But I think, the moment will come, maybe not next year, but it will definitely come. At that time, I would say Bitcoin will become the most valuable asset in the world. And it will probably outcompete gold, which is kind of the last generation product, store of value. I would say maybe next year, at some point around 130K to 150K, I will sell maybe 50% of my Bitcoin, but I will just keep the rest to I don't know how long.
What about your opinions on high frequency trading? So clearly in like traditional markets, that's had an impact and a lot of people sort of follow that. Is AI and what you're seeing in the crypto world as it relates to trading impacted all by high frequency trading? And what are you seeing?
I would say there are 3 factors for a successful high frequency trading strategy, right? So the strategy is itself, how to build smart strategies to arbitrage or to, take advantage of other players, right? So that is like how smart it is. And then AI model can definitely help to create and also to improve these models. And that is probably the most important part. But you also have the infrastructure, right? So you have to be using, let's say, like in TradFi, you have to do like colocation, in the with like the exchange, right? So you have your server is basically just put in the same data center with the exchange. You try to be a little bit faster than anyone else. And third one is the capital cost, right? So like if you use stable coins, if you use like even Bitcoin, there's cost to it. For some institutions, like the cost is lower than others. So in that front, you can also outcompete, if you have cheaper capital. So the combine of 3, I would say, is like, how to build a successful high frequency trading strategy. And in terms of like on-chain high frequency trading, it's basically MEV. So like on Solana, there's GRTiQ, right? On Ethereum, there's Splashbot. And there are some other like these kind of unions on other blockchains, right? So essentially you have to bribe GRTiQ in order to not be in front run. And GRTiQ is making a lot of money. Like GRTiQ is making $6 million of revenue each day. It's higher than Ethereum or Solana gas fee because there is so much retail flow on Solana. And then they all try to, protect themselves from MEV. So they pay a small fee to GRTiQ. We are building some strategies to, capture the MEV. We are a searcher ourselves. This MEV searcher is very similar to high frequency trading in TradFi.
What about the evolution of trading and the industry entirely since you sort of first got involved in 2017? I mean, has it evolved? Has it surprised you? Anything surprised you about sort of the evolution and growth of the industry?
Yes and no. We have definitely came a long way since 2017. Think about all these assets are being launched on chain, right? On Pump.Fund. There are 10,000 tokens to be launched on Pump.Fund each day since March. It's a crazy number if we compare to 2017 or even 2020. It's 100x growth or 1,000x growth. There's definitely product market fit there. And I believe in the future, like 99.9% of the token will be launched and the major liquidity venue will be on chain instead of in centralized exchange. And I think that's kind of a mega trend going forward. And then, if we look at each cycle, there are interesting things happening for each cycle. 2017, it was the ICO, which fueled the bull market. And 2018, it was the exchange, right? Binance. In late 2017 and early 2018, spot trading mostly, right? And for 2019, it was FTX, right? FTX kind of popularized, leveraged tokens and also futures like, USDT futures. That was 2019. And also the platform tokens, right? So FTT launched and went up a lot. And for 2020, it was the DeFi summer. 2021, it was the NFT and metaverse. And 2022, Three Arrows, FTX collapse, there's a lot of deleveraging, like a huge deleveraging process. And for 2023, it was kind of the ETF, right? Institution money. And for 2024, it was the meme, right? Pumped up fund, especially. So if we look at that timeline, it has always been around finance, right? Trading. No matter if it's like in the exchange trading, like exchange trading products, or like on-chain trading products. So like the industry really found the PMF in trading, in finance. And I don't think it's going to change a lot in the future. There's one thing that I observed like since 2017, right? So back then there was a lot of professors issuing tokens, right? Trying to, do these like groundbreaking technologies. What about now? Now it's all engineer driven, right? Now it's all about product driven. So people are becoming more and more practical to build products that people like to use, right? But not necessarily these very, like products, but actually like those are the products that can make people money, right? That can help people to speculate, to trade. So essentially we are still a financial market. It's just like a different financial market that can permissionlessly issuing assets, right? Issuing tokens. And that is something amazing about blockchain. And I think that's kind of the bread and butter of our industry. But on the other side, right? So back in 2017, 2018, people were dreaming about something cooler, right? People trying to do anything with crypto, anything with blockchain, try to reinvent the wheels of a lot of other industries with crypto. And I don't think that worked because like not a lot of use cases that really need to be trustless, right? Not a lot of use cases that really depends on decentralized technologies. Only money needs, right? And I feel like going forward, even though like the liquidity will be on chain, there are a lot of the user experience that will be abstracted, right? Centralized, still going to be like centralized exchanges or centralized user experience. However, just liquidity is on chain. So that's what we have been seeing in a lot of trading bots, right? And Moonshot, this like app, right? Essentially, people use it as a centralized exchange, but it sends transaction to on-chain and buy these meme coins on Solana. I feel like that will become more and more popular going forward because there are less hardcore tech lovers and there are more normies that we can go after.
When you think about this industry, and I'm kind of talking about Web3 here, what we commonly hear people refer to as Web3. I mean, do you see it as just like a DeFi, something that runs in parallel to TradFi? This whole thing about blockchain and crypto is ultimately just sort of about a new financial environment? Or do you see it more broadly like gaming and all the other things that sort of get governance, other things, NFTs that get bolted onto this?
I actually don't like the term Web3, to be honest. I prefer to say crypto. The term Web3 is vague. It's very hard to define. People like to say, you can own, right? You can read, you can write, and you can own. However, in most of these use cases, you actually don't need to own or you don't care to own, right? People own it because what? Like because they can resell it, right? They can resell it as a higher value, or they can keep it, right? They can keep it to themselves to make sure that they own it. However, a lot of the things that is not considered like universally valuable, right? Money is universally valuable because you can exchange to other things. But what about your data? What about your game items? Those are valuable to some people and those are not valuable to some people. So it's very hard to assign a universal value to these things. That's why, decentralized social network and a lot of similar concept, I think they are sexy, but they only cater to a very small fraction of users, the really hardcore users. Let's say if we use a social network, if we use an IM app, do you really need to safeguard your private key? Let's say it's very hard for, I would say 99% of the people to safeguard their private key. I feel like the blockchain is fast enough, right? It's not like we are lack of block space. We can use LDA, like Celestia is very cheap to use. But the thing is, probably there's not much value to be captured, right? If we convert anything into Web3.
What's your long-term vision for ARPA Network, and what do you sort of want to accomplish with that?
For ARPA Network, we have accomplished a lot in the past 6 years. Right now, we are the third largest EigenLayer ABS. So we have, I don't know, like maybe $5 billion worth of ETH and other tokens to safeguard our network. We provide, verifiable random number generators on most of the Ethereum, like the EVM chains. And we are supporting like 2 dozens of applications that utilize our service. Going forward, I would say, we are doing some really interesting research into zero knowledge machine learning. I am very interested in AI. My team is very interested in AI, but we try to do it in a more verifiable way, right? So like we try to explore if we can build AI models with some cryptographic algorithms to combine them into something verifiable. That is what we try to accomplish at ARPA Network.
And what about Bella Protocol then? So what's sort of your vision there, and what are some exciting milestones you're looking forward to?
At Bella Protocol, we try to make money for the users. It's that simple. And no matter if we do like DeFi yield aggregation strategies, or if we do like cross-chain liquidity provision strategies, or if we do like AI assisted signal bot, right? Signal, Telegram bot. Everything we do is try to make money for our users and try to help with smarter decisions by our users. Right. So we will continue to make effort in that front. Essentially, we're going to improve our AI models, and then we try to run backtest in more tokens. Right now, we have 14 tokens that we support, using our AI models. People can sign up for their signals. And we launched this Bella Signal bot like about a month and a half, 6 weeks ago. We didn't do much marketing. We didn't do any paid campaign. And right now we have more than 2,000 users. It's just organic flow. People love our product because people can just, look at Bitcoin and see our signals, right? We backtested with great track record. We will definitely improve and then to add more features on our signal bot. Next month, we are actually going to release a second AI product. It's called the Research Bot. The Bella Research Bot, you can find informations, about different projects or some general information about crypto, about, wallets. You can, look at the KOL wallets, etc. So it's going to be a very powerful tool for our users to find intelligence.
I want to ask you about entrepreneurship. And clearly, you graduate from university, you went to work at some large sort of VC, private equity, financial type organizations. Then you ventured off and did your own thing. You've been very successful at it, as you've been talking today. What do you know about the nature of entrepreneurship? Like, what are the 1 or 2 characteristics that every entrepreneur needs to possess?
Right. Okay. So I can think about some words. The first one will be curiosity. Right. Especially like if you try to build a business in a fast developing industry like crypto, you have to be very sensitive to the things happening. Back in 2019, when I was using DeFi, I didn't have to use it. Right. So but then I was interested. I was curious about how this smart contract application can work. And then the next year, DeFi summer, when comp token was launched, a compound token was launched, I ate into it instantly, right? I tried to yield farm. And it was crazy time. It was like DeFi summer was actually a crazy time. And then for now, like meme coins, I've been trading meme coins since March, since before the launch of Pump.Fund. All these things, they are not necessarily to make you money, but it actually sharpen your judgment of the industry. And you have to be curious to learn these, right? Because it's all very time consuming. That's kind of this first word I can think of. And the second word is charismatic. Because you always try to influence the people around you, no matter if it's your team, your clients, your investors. You have to basically sell the vision to them and also the users eventually. It takes a big heart, right, to always talk about the things that you believe. Sometimes, you make yourself believe, and sometimes you influence others to believe the same vision. And I think that is very important. And the third one might be collaborative. So nobody is a Superman. Nobody can do all the work. There is definitely a team effort behind anything. So you got to bring in co-founders with different expertise, team members that are, sometimes they are more talented than you as the founder in some, angles. Everyone has to work together and then, as a team. So I think that three words are probably the most important.
Felix, what about something you've talked about a couple times already, which is, these different cycles had different narratives. And for whatever reason, DeFi summer, ICOs, NFTs, all of these things sort of got attached to these different cycles. As you look ahead to this cycle, what do you think the top line narratives are going to be this time around?
Yeah, the narrative for this cycle is definitely about meme coin, about memes, right? And also maybe about RWA. I feel like those are and also AI, I think those are the three strongest narrative of this cycle. For meme coin, is more about product market fit, right? We really have Pump.Fund that can launch 10,000 tokens a day. All the retail flows are there. And for RWA, we have the ETF, we have BlackRock, doing their Build fund. We definitely see a lot of, crossroad for TradFi and for DeFi, even integrating blockchain system into the existing banking or, cross-chain, cross-border payment system. So I think there's also product market fit there in RWA. And for AI, it's more about narrative, but it's interesting. AI, crypto AI is kind of like a niche vertical compared to the whole general AI. But it's interesting because it kind of explore into the financialization of these AI models, right? We have Goat, we have, Cerebral, we have all these automated accounts that they, build a token by accident or on purpose. So it's very interesting to look at that and then to see how the industry evolves.
What's your opinion on something like Goat? I mean, when I first saw that, it blew my mind. It felt dystopian to me a little bit of what I was seeing. But then, of course, it became more and more interesting and it became a big topic on social media. What's your opinion on something like Goat?
That is exactly the approach, the right approach to build a cult, right? I feel like single AI agents, I'm not too sure if there's another token coming out in terms of the popularity, in terms of the cult of Goat. It's definitely the OG AI meme out there. But there are also a lot of these launch platforms, and also there are some frameworks, for example, AI16Z, ELISA, Wife, Top Hat, Virtuals. So those platforms are more, I would say, a more the converge of financialization and the AI agents. So recently I've been looking at these projects.
Well, Felix, now we've reached a point where I'm going to ask you the GRTiQ 10. Longtime listeners of the podcast know that I ask these questions every week. Gives us a chance to learn a little bit more about you on the personal side, but it also might give listeners an idea of trying something new, learning something different, or achieving more in their own life. So are you ready for the GRTiQ 10?
Sure. Let's go.
The GRTiQ 10. This is the way.
10 questions for astronauts floating in space.
What book or article has had the most impact on your life?
I would say two, right? So like the first one will be The Three-Body Problem. It's a Chinese sci-fi book, very popular. I read it a long time ago. And it had a lot of impact on me, like in terms of like, because it has similar concept of blockchain in that book I was reading. So I love that book. And there's another series that I like is the Cthulhu by H.P. Lovecraft. I love these like unspeakable horror, cosmic horror. Yeah, I just enjoy reading it. So like basically I listen to audiobooks when I do late night driving. I love to drive after work, right? I drive to airports, I drive on the highway, and then I listen to audiobooks about Cthulhu, The Mountain of Madness, for example. I read many times. I love it.
Is there a movie or a TV show that you would recommend everybody should watch?
Not fancy one, but Alien. I love that series.
How about this one, Felix? If you could listen to only one music album for the rest of your life, which one would you choose?
Something from Green Day. Yeah, I listened to Green Day since I was a child. Yeah, like I stopped listening to them for a while, but like if I can only do one album, then I'll probably do theirs.
What's the best advice someone's ever given to you?
And my dad, I guess. He has always been my role model, and he taught me a lot about the business, how to collaborate with other people, how to keep integrity, right? So to make some money, to not make some money. So I learned a lot from him.
What's one thing you've learned in your life that you don't think most other people have learned or know quite yet?
I feel enlightened when I learned that all the joy and all the hardship, all the sorrow is all part of my precious life. Yeah, no matter if it's good or not, it's just part of my life and how shape who I am.
What's the best life hack you've discovered for yourself?
Life hack. Okay, so back in 2022, I tried to lose weight, kind of overworked, so I got overweight. I was trying to lose weight. I love eating like fries and ketchup. Especially, I just love like sour food, like ketchup, for example. I know that if I substitute ketchup with something else healthier, that would be great, right? So I was trying to eat different things to substitute ketchup, and I found Tabasco is actually the most healthy condiment that you can substitute ketchup. It has no calorie. It tastes kind of the same.
Amazing. I love that insight there. How about this one? Felix, based on your own life experiences and observations, what's the one habit or characteristic that you think best explains how people find success in life?
I'm trying to learn a lot of new things and trying to be curious about this world, what's going on in our industry. I guess that is the one.
And then the final three questions are complete the sentence type questions. So the first one is, the thing that most excites me about the future of DeFi is?
To bring in some real world assets and then to kind of merge like the blockchain technology into TradFi and to incorporate crypto.
And how about this one? If you're on X or Twitter, whatever people decide to call it, you should be following.
I follow this guy called Crypto Amsterdam, who gives really good charts and analysis about crypto price.
Amazing. And then the final question is, I'm happiest when
I feel like doing something useful, when I'm just trying to build something.
The GRTiQ 10.
And I show you how things are
Felix, thank you so much for joining the GRTiQ podcast. It was a lot of fun to get to know you and to get your perspective on this intersection of AI and trading, as well as the amazing things you're working on at ARPA Network and Bella Protocol. I'll put links in the show notes for anybody that wants to learn more and get involved in those projects. For listeners that want to stay in touch with you, follow the things you're working on, what's the best way for them to stay in touch?
Follow our Twitter. It says ARPA Official and Bella Protocol, and also my personal Twitter, Felix Xu.
This has been a production of the GRTiQ podcast. For more information, including detailed show notes, visit grtiq.com/podcast. That's grtiq.com/podcast. grt.com/podcast.
Please consider contributing to this project and helping build the community by subscribing and leaving a review.
GRTiQ
Podcast.